What is up, everybody? One moment. I had a technical just now. All right, I'm back. When you have your windows all scattered about and different tabs open, I had like 3 different of the same thing playing in my ear. But I don't hear it anymore. But that's par for the course here. Rough intro. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. And welcome to episode 76 of Coffee with Den, where we hang out, talk about all the things with anybody who wants to show up. And John, what's up? Thanks for popping in.
Absolutely happy to be here. I promise I'm awake.
Yeah, I believe you. Promise. If you want to pop in, you can go to this website called Den.Social. You can just type that into your URL bar and go to it. And then there's a layer called Coffee with a Den. And in that layer, there's a post. It says episode 76 here. And then if you scroll down, there's buttons. You can click them. It says click here to join live. And then you can join live. So anybody can do that. It's totally open. There's, 8 billion people on the planet. Half of them have internet access. So any of 4 billion people could pop in right about now if you wanted to. Topics. We're changing the time of the show. We got some votes in on that. If you've been playing along so far, you've been able to throw in your weight on that vote. Looks like everybody basically wants the same thing, except Lisa. Lisa's the only holdout. Which is fine. Just felt like calling her out since she was the only one that didn't vote for the same thing.
Get it together, Lisa. Okay. Your personal freedoms don't matter. All that matters is whether or not you agree with what I say.
So we do this at 8 a.m. We do this at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays.
We do this at 8 a.m., but Central Time.
Yeah. And actually, Lisa's time, it is 8 a.m. That's right.
We also do this.
We are changing that.
We also do the show on Thursdays if you're in Australia.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Okay.
It sounds like it could be.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I don't know what's real anymore, so I'll just, sure.
I teach a class at 4:00 and this person's like, well, it's Thursday here. And I'm like, it's Thursday, 6 a.m. here. I'm like, well, I'm going to talk in things relation to my time. I don't know how to help you out.
That's funny. I was watching a glorified soap opera the other day where some of this guy's co-workers were making fun of him. He was like 40-something. He was dating a 24-year-old. And they were poking fun at him for dating someone half his age. And it happened to be her birthday. But she's German, and they were in the U.S. And he was like, well, technically, she's 25 really in Germany where she was born because they're a day ahead now. Anyway, that's what that reminded me of. Not that it was worth talking about here, but I said it now.
What about people like Jehovah's Witness and they don't celebrate like your birthdays or like your first one or something? So
is that true?
I don't know. I saw it on an episode of Community.
You're not a real person yet?
Well, no, so in like according to Jehovah's Witness, right? From the show Community, because that's all I know.
Oh, that version of what?
Okay, yeah. Your first birthday isn't when you're 1. It's
when you're 0?
Yeah. Or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So like you're not 1 until like 1 year or something like that.
And while we're going off of this down this path, you know what that reminds me of is something else that's completely irrelevant, which is this whole debate that happened. There's a music festival series that you know of. It's Heartwood Music Festival here in Gainesville. And
what's the debate?
The debate is, if you go back and look at the series, there was a disagreement about how to say the second one, basically. The first and second installments, right? So if it's annual, it's an annual event. You have the first annual, the second annual, right? Somebody was saying that actually the second installment is the first annual, and you can't say the first annual on the first one. So the first 2 numbers got all weird and messed up.
The first one would be the inaugural.
The inaugural.
The second one would be I think it would be the second.
First is the second.
Annual.
Yeah.
Then the second, and then the third one would actually be the butthole, because the second anal
The second one. So that's what happened. So I don't know if the number they use today is correct. They might be lying to you. Don't believe everything that you breathe.
All right, get on the Twitter Spaces right now. Go to @Heartwood Soundstage.
I don't know if they have that.
Let them know what you think. They check their
Yeah.
Twitter regularly. We all know Dave.
Yeah. I told them they should just not try to use the fancy language and just say the second one.
Yeah.
It's the second festival. The end. No confusion.
They should just call it a different name every year.
Yeah.
So first year, Heartwood Music Festival. Second year, we did it again.
Mhm.
Music time at the Woodstop. Third year,
keep it fun.
Woodstock, Gainesville. Fourth year, fuck.
Why use numbers? You know what I used to do is I used to have we did 3 of them, and it wasn't like the turning of phase was occasional, like it wasn't annual or monthly or whatever. And so I would see like the second occasional Stank Jam. It was a funky jam.
Yeah.
You know, and so the third one was like 3 months. Like the second one was a couple of months after the first one, but the third one was like 2 years after the second one. So it was just whenever I felt like doing it. So the third occasional, that kind of thing.
I think
That's my favorite. They're fun. It was just big improvised thing, kind of deal. Well, small improvised thing, but it was fun. All right, so episode 76, the actual 76th one. We're going to keep doing these in the morning until probably August.
We die until we die. We're going to be here yelling at you on the internet until we die.
And then we'll switch to the evenings. Big fat chance I'm going to take August off completely. And then we'll come back in September in the evenings. So we got a couple of months of morning time still. And then we'll go with that. So that's what we're up to. If it happens that everybody who holds lot comes in and votes for Lisa's option, which is Tuesday at 8, you can still turn the vote, but I don't think that many people still are around who hold the voting tokens. So it's gonna be Wednesday at 8 unless something changes. Now everybody could still change your vote. Just a reminder: once you vote on stuff, you can still change that. But that's what we'll plan on. Either way, I think the vote ends tomorrow. So we're going to end up at that time, Wednesday at 8 p.m. starting in September. I imagine is going to be the way it goes. And good morning, Vietnam, says I am for Am.
But it's not morning in Vietnam.
No, but I do love Robin Williams a lot.
It's probably late afternoon in Vietnam. So just something to think about.
And that's our show. So that's been...
you can't say you didn't learn anything. You can't say you didn't learn anything.
We had updates about governance, and then about all there is to talk about. No, we got some things to talk about. There's a lot of alien discussion going on. I don't know if you've been keeping up on that the last couple of days. John Branch, have you heard about the aliens or the potential aliens or the whistleblowing?
I feel like my lips are the same color as my cheeks.
Is that intentional?
No, I'm like, should I have lipstick on?
Are you an alien? Is that a non-human feature? Is that a hint?
No, I just think I don't know. I was just thinking about lip color there for a second.
I think, John, you're changing the subject suspiciously. Changing the subject. I don't know why you would be doing that. Are you a lizard person?
All right, let's talk about the lizard people living in New York.
Okay, so according to some dude who did an interview with some people, I think on the Hill or something, he's okay. So legitimately, dude was in the in the armed forces in some special program, and a lot of people who were on these programs that we do know of that look into UFOs for the military and the government and stuff. They all talked about UFOs and stuff. And according to him, we've all been lied to, and there's UFOs, and we've captured them, and we've had people have died messing with them. And everybody that's not a regular civilian who has these higher clearances know about it, but they're not telling us. And also China knows about it and Russia knows about it. And basically there's this sort of UFO Cold War, and it's a whole big thing, and it's been going on for decades. So that's basically all you need to know. So you're caught up to speed, right? That's basically the whole interview. What I thought was interesting is that he did hand over, apparently, a bunch of stuff to Congress as part of his whistleblowing expedition. And he has written permission from the DoD to do the interview that he did, as long as he didn't show any actual evidence and things like that. And everything that he says is something that he was, quote, briefed on. I've been briefed on this. I've been briefed on that. And so to me, it really reeks of the same thing that's happened in the past, where there's been an actual secret program that the military was working on, and they went to these people who were plausible and believable in the UFO community and seeded information to them to make them talk about UFOs, so they wouldn't talk about what was really going on, which was some secret like program. So that's my theory.
Here's my theory.
Okay.
If there really was a big UFO conspiracy,
they're little though. They're small UFOs.
If there was a small UFO conspiracy, and the government knew about it, they would not be able to keep that secret. I feel like some shit would get said.
Yeah, like on Discord, right? Wasn't that the last leak was on Discord?
I don't know.
Dude was like talking about it on Minecraft with his buddies.
Talked about the show Discord, like the program?
No, so like the gaming network thing where people have Discord servers. The most recent leak from the Pentagon kid that was like leaking stuff about Ukraine. That was all just him talking to his Discord buddies at his Minecraft server.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool. But yeah, like I feel like we would not be able to keep that secret. Well, like somebody would tell their wife or their husband, and then that would get passed on to like something, and then somebody else is drinking with the boys and lets them know. Like, I don't know. I've been hammered around people that have had like high clearance, and every once in a while they like to let a little thing slip here and there.
You're right. Like, stuck at holding at keeping secrets. So, someone jokingly told me once that a secret, the definition of a secret, was something that you only tell one person at a time, basically. So yeah,
and like the stuff that people let slip are never like government like secrets, like government like security threats, but it's more like, oh, didn't know that. Probably wasn't supposed to know that. Doesn't really hurt anybody that I do know that. But like, yeah, that would not be, that would be the worst kept secret ever. Also, why would they want to see us? We're just burning each other down.
Well, we are an interesting case study. I'll give them that. What if ants and shit had like helicopters and missiles and propaganda and psyops and like were terrible-er than they already are to each other? Wouldn't we just be like, damn, would you look at what they're doing? You know? Maybe you break a dam every now and then just to see what happens, to see them blame each other, to see who did it. Well, kind of thing.
So like I think the argument for aliens is having like, I mean, I'd be excited if there's anything that was able to work at like at like a high intellectual level, like humans, where compared to other creatures, right? Like the dumbest human is still smarter than the smartest ape. You know what I mean? Like we're not. Come on.
I saw a really good documentary on chimps recently.
In general,
they were pretty organized, bro.
They were organized, but they're not like they're not like stringing together sentences with their words, and they're not like
the communication thing is fantastic. I think that's cool. Yeah,
it's like we're helping them. It's getting there. But my point is,
I mean, ours with humans, that's like a baseline intelligence thing that impresses me no matter what. Yeah.
So like my point is that like I think it'd be cool as hell if there was like another thing that rivaled us, or even another way of thinking would be really cool. But we're just not there yet. Just not.
You know who's got a lot of opinions about aliens, bro?
David.
David does. Yeah. So David's here. Let's bring him up. Gravity Crash.
I don't
What's
know
up,
if
dude?
I don't know if it's opinions about aliens or just about how they didn't build the pyramids.
Okay, you're really specific about like your scope of proficiency on alien discussion
Now
is narrowly on ancient Egypt and the
I will
pyramids.
no. That I will say. I have always, and I think you and I talked about this when we first met. I have always had this thought that like people aren't from here originally because
Yeah.
we're not comfortable anywhere on this planet at all. Like we don't like the temperature. Everything kills us. Everything is poisonous. Like the air puts things in our body that makes us die. Like we're not from here as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think we just never had like we just kept coming up with ways to not have to adapt.
Yeah, I know, which is really a weird thing as a species.
We got thumbs and then we're like, fuck it, we're good.
Fuck it, we are A-okay now.
We got our one advantage on everybody else in the fucking world, which is just thumbs.
The ability to grasp things with opposable appendages.
I look at the cats all the time, and like the cats will be looking at me and meowing like, "Oh, I want food," and I'll just be like, "Fuck you, I have thumbs. Like, what do you want?" Sorry, you weren't born right.
And now thumbs are so important that now like we've gotten away from using all of our for like on a keyboard, for example, all of our fingers and thumbs. We'd only use our thumbs now. Like they're so important that we only use the thumbs. That's all we need.
Have you ever noticed like the phenomenon after like video games became like console gaming became huge and prominent? A bunch of people started getting this thing that's called the gamer muscle. And it's the same thing with like texting. And it's this
thing here.
It's this massive lump of just pure I've beat the shit out of everything on the PS2. Hold on, I have to show y'all something really cool before I get pulled away.
On your thumbs and shit.
And there's his dick. Oh, okay.
I gotta show you something really cool.
So we always talk about how we live in Gainesville and we have such a cool like group of local bands here. So a guy came in earlier and he's got a band called Crash Pad, which is a kind of a cool little punk band that I've heard a couple of times. But I told him he didn't owe me anything because what I did was like super quick and easy. So he's like, "Oh, do you like records?" I was like, 1, how do you know? 2, yes. So he went outside and he brought me like they printed vinyl, and like I got him to sign it and everything. So now I've got like it will probably mean nothing to anybody, but it's just cool that I've got it.
That's awesome. And
did they bring their own car for that photo? I hope so.
I wonder. I'm actually kind of wondering where some of this artwork is from.
Yeah, that's like, cool, man.
There's a lot of stadium stuff here. This looks like the 70s.
A friend of mine has, he ended up with a bunch of mini grand pianos that were all sort of decrepit, but they were still mini grands. Okay. And he had a bonfire and burned one and had some of the most amazing photos. I was like, bro, those are album covers for sure. A burning, flaming piano, that's original work right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think he just has them like he doesn't. And he's an artist. He should sell them. But he doesn't.
He just set those on fire. Like,
all right, wait. Is the name of the band one word? Is it Crash Pad?
I think so. Hang on.
I'm trying to find their music because I want to listen.
It's 2 words, Crash Pad, and they've got a website.
Yeah, it's like the Bandicoot.
www.crashpadband.com.
All right. Well, since we're talking about, let's bring them up. www.
Also, sorry if my audio is flaky. I was out for a day.
It's great. Shut up.
Well, okay, listen here. All right, I'm using these weird headphones.
Is that the guy from what's his name?
Oh, dude with the scarf is the guy that I got the record from.
Scarfy McScarferson?
Dude with the scarf.
Hold up.
The guy on the right.
Okay. Guy on the right. Yep.
That looks like the guy from. He's in another punk band. Oh, what's his name?
I would assume. I think I've seen him in town before.
We're making Crash Pad famous right now.
He was the realtor for your house.
Excuse me.
What?
No, not you.
Dave. I don't know about that. I don't know if he was. Maybe he was, but I used my own dude and they split it. I don't know.
He looks like he was at least.
You know, here's a good idea. Why don't I just tell you what his name was?
Yeah, let's dox the guy.
Oh, if I just go down to band members, it says
fine. Brian.
Brian Eastman, City Commission Chair.
They gave you a fake name.
Actually, no. His name is Brian Crashpad with a K.
Ah.
Oh, it says JT Crashpad.
Here's his face.
Yeah, it's him.
There's a
Okay.
guy.
Not him.
There's a drummer, man.
Not that dude.
Here's somebody with a fedora.
Nice hat.
There we go.
That
There he
dude.
is. There you are, sir.
Also, guy on the right seems familiar too.
He's probably in
Maybe-
other local bands.
Yeah, they also everybody in Gainesville just looks like us.
Looks like just people in a punk band taking a
dirty
photo in
hippies.
front of a garage door.
We
Is
all
there
look
way
like
to-
dirty hippies. The only one that looks normal here is John.
Is there a way to listen to them?
Sure.
Not really, because I use Firefox, and apparently, if you do that, you can't pipe in the audio from the videos you play while you're on StreamYard. Thanks a
Yeah, I
lot,
love
people who
Firefox.
depend on Google for everything when they develop it.
No, I just can't even find any music on their website.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, if that's how underground it is, John, if you go to musicbrains.org/release/8BA4
Brains. Oh, I dig
Music
that.
Brains with a Z.
Website comes up. Oh,
There it is. Cops and Punks, number one on the thing there.
oh, some of the titles on the album
Yeah.
are actually pretty good.
I don't see a play button, but it's it's there.
Can you
Good
put
for
that in the
music, Brain.
chat? I'm gonna listen to it, or just in the
Yeah.
private chat.
Yeah, I'll pop it in. Even I'll do one
How
better.
are y'all so bad at the internet?
I'm
How-
not.
How are we
How are they so bad at putting
I'm
their
watching
fucking
y'all
music
try-
up?
Go to youtube.com and type in their name, and I guarantee you it's up there.
I'll do one better. I'll go to Coffee with Den, and I'll reply with
Nice.
this link, unauthorized. I'm gonna log in.
I love this show.
Okay, found them.
All right.
Did you go to YouTube and just type in their name?
All right, here we go. I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna reply. I'm gonna say, what are they called? Crash Pad?
Yep.
Crash Test Dummies. There we go.
Yeah.
Reply.
Good enough.
How about it? Now it's there for anybody to check out. So chimps and politicians are equal. Let's see what else we got in chat here. Aliens think humanity is in savage mode.
Aliens are the kind of things that if they were to come by our planet, they would see everything we're doing and roll their windows up. And they would keep on going, and that would be the end of it. They would not bother to stop here. I wouldn't stop here. Like if you were an alien, you had advanced space flight technology, you're cruising around the galaxy doing your cool shit, and then you see this slum of a planet. Like,
Yeah.
look at these guys. They're literally, as you said earlier, blowing up dams just to see what happens. Like
There,
let's blame it on everybody else.
this would be a fascinating like what do they call the tourists who are like macabre tourist kind of thing, where they go to see shit that's fucked up because they can afford to do that and stay safe at the same time. That kind of thing where you just like, what?
Go like something explode that shouldn't explode, or
Just like go check out what's going on Earth because that's crazy, right?
They're like
That kind of thing.
producers.
It's
God,
sell
it's like a
tickets.
Doctor Who thing.
Sell tickets
With
to it. Yeah.
What if that's humanity? Would you like even be surprised if you found out that humanity was a giant sporting event and that they sold tickets to it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who the fuck wants to watch me?
I mean, well, okay, a lot of people apparently want to watch you, asshat.
All the nations are sports teams and stuff, and then people are just like betting on the different teams. That's not too far away from reality, I think.
Not at all. Also, I'm wandering around the store today. Here's our hi-fi that we set up with some nice Marantz. We like it. Apparently, it's still playing music over there, and it's just not doing that anymore. So that's probably not good. Oh, it was muted. That's why.
Yeah. Check the ONOFF button.
Oh my god. What's the thing that's like the problem between like user and chair?
PEBCAC.
Pepcac, that's what it is.
Yeah, I was watching Fubar recently, which is a new Arnold Schwarzenegger TV show.
Apparently it's pretty good.
It's fun. Yeah, it's super predictable, but not in a bad way.
I mean, it's TV.
I was just like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen next. Oh, and they're gonna get stuck in there. Yeah. Oh, and then they're gonna yada yada. Oh, and then the balloons are gonna pop. They think it's
But that's
gunfire.
not necessarily a bad
Yeah.
thing sometimes, because then you have a TV show that you don't have to fully focus on.
Yeah, it was casual.
Kind of background.
It was relaxing. It was funny. Humor was good. I recommend it. Fubar.
Oh, my light works again.
Yeah, but I had to explain what foobar meant to my wife. It's like one of those pebcac things.
Would you like to explain, just in case anybody here doesn't know?
Oh, sure. Thanks for asking. It's fucked up beyond all recognition.
I like how that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's return to television.
Foobar
is
it's like naming a show Snafu,
or a show called Foobar. Yeah, it's just like it's like guess who's back from their political campaign in
guess who's back
DTF.
Yeah, we used something that was funny and used heavily decades ago.
I'm in your DMs now.
Making the return to television, American Pie 12. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh my god!
It's like, why is this the way you want to come back?
There is a little bit of a, like there's stuff being made that's sort of, it's throwback insofar as it's straightforward and not twisty turny all the way through the plot. You know, movies used to be really like, good guy wins and bad guy loses, and it's a feel good, and you knew what's going to happen all along, and you knew that. Yeah.
Coming of age movie.
And I don't know. I thought it was. I think I like it. Like, it's good to have that every now and then. Not everything needs to have like an M. Night Shyamalan twist into it or something like that. You know,
not everything needs to be like a Scorsese film. Like, it can just be.
Like Maverick was like that. Top Gun Maverick. It was very. It was very like. Oh, that's how they used to make movies. Yep. It's exactly how they were.
Apparently, it was really awesome, and
it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I'm a big Top Gun fan anyway.
I mean, it's an F-14 going fast.
Yeah, the whole thing was just basically just catering to people who wanted a certain thing. They wanted Top Gun again, right? No newfangled like twist on how to make movies. No amazing new technological breakthroughs like Episode 1 fiasco with Star Wars, where everything looks shiny and, you know, better tech in the past somehow.
I can't believe I'm about to defend Episode 1.
Episode 1 is great. I'm just talking about what people were saying when they complained about it was the visual differences and how different the film.
Well, I mean, everything looked so shiny.
Really shiny, yeah. Something that always irritates me too with like video game graphics and stuff, where people's skin is shiny. For example,
it's all polished,
polished
where it doesn't need to be polished.
Dirt doesn't exist in this universe.
Yeah, that's kind of real. Well, what is wet right now? That's so weird.
That's why it's shiny.
But like that's what like that's the difference between like pre like rebellion, right? Like things were shiny and like polished.
No,
like.
And well, actually, no, you're not wrong. I'll give you that.
I'm not wrong, but I think that's the whole point. Is like it's showing the complete, like he literally just wanted to show the complete opposite side of what he showed before, and be like, "Yo, there's so much more to this universe. Let's talk about it."
Yeah, but why'd they have to put the Gungan in it?
Well, then people were just mad about Jar Jar Binks, and that's a whole that. I think
rightfully
also,
so.
Do you know how hard it is to make a gimmicky character that people love?
Here's an idea: just don't.
They did it in the original 3 as well, 4, 5, and 6. The fucking R2-D2 is gimmicky a lot of time. You know, he has little contraptions that stick out of his chest. Like,
yeah, but he's like
has these interactions with Yoda that are comical and cartoony.
Wow, he is the gimmick character from the original.
Yeah, somewhat C-3PO, but R2 really is the one.
At least C-3PO was funny.
Yeah, but R2 and C-3PO too, like they're kind of droids that like fit with everything else. You know, they're everywhere else in the world. So like literally Ewoks were made to sell teddy bears. Like that's why Ewoks were created for merchandising.
Star Wars was made to sell toys anyways. I mean, it was that era.
So that's what I think that it was. He was supposed to be like the comic relief and supposed to be this guy. And I get it.
How'd they do it once?
And nobody's ever thought of George Lucas as the comedian. You know what I mean? Like nobody's been like, you know what I go to a George Lucas film for? The funny, wacky characters.
Well, okay, I'm just riddle me this. If you were to just take Jar Jar as a character and delete him entirely, would anything be different?
Yeah.
Would it matter though?
How would they get to the Gungan Underground?
Yeah, they would
just bypass that.
Swim through the planet to get somewhere.
They would just bypass anything that goes, and that would be the end of it.
I don't know. I'm okay.
Because you don't like fish people, you think they should be exterminated? Is that what you're saying?
Well, not as long as they're like Not as long as they're the kind of fish people that I personally like. Like, for instance, like the Zora in Zelda, they're fine. Like, they can keep going. But the Gungans, nuke them. That's my political stance on it.
Speaking of nukes, there's a question in chat
Oh, God.
about the end of the world and or humanity.
Power plant.
Nukes or AI? Which one ends it first?
Nukes set off by the AI.
Neither, honestly. Well, okay, if I was really to say why I think the world will end, I do genuinely, I don't know why I'm going to take this question so fucking seriously. I do genuinely think that in my lifetime, we're probably going to blow up in some kind of a horrible explosion. I don't think that's far-fetched. I mean, we are literally in the most politically poisonous fucking climate since the Cold War.
It's pretty crazy, right? Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, like, you literally made the dam joke earlier, but, like, let's be real. That's currently causing a power plant to have problems and flooding a whole bunch of homes. And
it's a terrible thing. Yes.
Shit show.
It's only pointing out that the current situation with that is that both sides of that river or that waterway, both sides of that dam are pointing fingers at the other side, saying it was you. And I'm just like, what if they're both right? What if they're both
blowing up?
You know?
Like, that's the reason we're going to blow up. We're going to absolutely be dead well before AI can get cool. So AI is cool now, but I genuinely think it needs like 50 to 100 years of actual real advancements in technology to be able to hit a point where it's going to be like having a conversation with a real human being with a personality.
It also needs somebody other than idiots programming it. Sometimes I read stories about things that go wrong with AI. I sent you one of them, right? So there's this.
God, that was crazy.
I'll have to go link this in the AI layer or something. But legitimately, okay, so this happened. There's a simulation where they were testing an AI drone. Now this is all virtual. This is all simulation. But the test was to see if it worked. See how this AI thing can work out if we give it to a drone and we give it weapons and we send it on a search and destroy mission, right? So the mission was to identify surface-to-air missile sites, right? Blow them up. Yay, right? Now our airplanes can go in without getting shot down. So that was the test. Can we get an AI to autonomously identify surface-to-air missile sites and then destroy them without having humans to have to do it? Not that there's a human flying drone, right? That's what we have right now is humans flying the drones from like California, killing people remotely and then ordering a pizza on their lunch break and coming back. So we want to remove those people because they end up not liking it. So we want to remove those people, just give it to AI. So they're testing this system out. The drone's supposed to go do that. There's one caveat, though, is that there is still a human controller who gives the go or no-go signal. So the drone says, hey, I found a SAM site. I want to destroy it. And then the human has to say, yep, cool, go get it. Or nope, don't do it. And so they're testing this out. And this really happened. And since the drone's higher objective was to destroy the SAM site, it decided that the human operator was an obstacle for it to achieve its goal. So it killed the human operator so that it would not interfere with its ultimate goal of killing the SAM site. So then they said, oh, no, don't do that. That's bad. You can't kill the human operator. You lose points for killing the human operator. Don't do that. That's bad. So they ran all the tests again. And this time it's like, okay, I won't do that. But it did destroy the communications tower between the human operator and the drone, so it couldn't tell it not to. So these are the kinds of things that we're already seeing because some asshole decided that the incentives that it wanted to give the drone to complete its mission were basically to destroy something and not listen to the human. That's how I interpret that. They should have said, oh, you get points for doing what the fuck the human says. Not that, objective kind of thing. So the way that we program these things are going to be very important in how they do or do not blow us all up.
Unfortunately, everybody thinks about it in the science fiction terms of how AI works because, there is a science fiction version of AI. I mean, we've seen it in 2001, as far back as stuff like that. I mean, it's been around.
There have been warnings, yes.
Yes, there have been warnings. But basically, everybody immediately sees it as that science fiction type technology. So I think they try to program it in that way, like thinking that it's already smarter.
Solar flare.
Yeah, it's solar flare.
I'm not going to lie. He's not terribly wrong on that thought. I know that
the other two were of our own fault. This one's also of our own fault because we're spending so many resources destroying each other instead of preparing for an inevitable CME that will happen. We should be hardening against that.
The last one was the 1830s, right? Where people
Yeah,
were trying to play with.
I don't know if that was the Carrington event, but it was a Carrington event.
The Carrington event. It was 1860s.
Yeah, we had the telegraph back then, but we didn't have all the technology that we depend on today.
People were sending telegraphs without their batteries hooked up.
Yeah, there was so much induction on the lines. You could just send messages because there was so much. Like electricity was being induced onto the line without batteries being hooked up to it.
It was cool as shit, realistically. There was some guy there who, as an 1800s guy, was secretly getting high because he had to hide it from everything. So he, dug a hole in his backyard. And was
things caught on fire. It was cool, but also things caught on fire.
Well, yeah, okay. Did anybody die in the Carrington event?
I don't think so. No. It was purely
equipment based. Horribly unlucky.
But that was before every facet of our life depended on very sensitive electronics. Now those were big, robust cables, right? Now everything's a little like nano scale wires and shit. That's gonna melt immediately.
It just freaks out and just dies as soon as it gets hit.
Yeah. Shout out to Sinfully Cerebral. This is our new Hype Freak handle. I like the name change. Keep on keeping on with that.
I absolutely love that name.
1 point of clarification. Yeah, we're moving to the evenings. That downvote hasn't passed yet, and I was just talking about because you're late. I was just talking about how we're probably going to start that in September after taking the month of August off. So we got a couple of months still. No rush on that.
I'll host the whole month of August, and it'll be just 10 minutes every single day. We're going to go every single day for the month of August of me just screaming into a microphone at different pitches to see which one triggers the brown sound.
Yeah. This is the experiment.
I feel like we should just jump on here.
That's the dumbest fucking thing. All right, so last week I had that stupid bit I did about rubbing a lamp. Do you remember that?
The genie lamp thing, and you didn't need any. No, I'm good. Don't need any wishes. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I don't know what it is in this show. Like I have and my wife heard that and then wrote a sketch about that. It was pretty funny, like just that idea. And I was like, I don't know. Yeah, that was a pretty clever little improv segment, and I just never thought about it. And I was like, I love the idea of somebody every day just screaming into a microphone, looking for the brown sound.
Like the brown noise is what they're hunting.
Yeah, can we aim for pink noise? I don't know. Sounds like a shitty show potentially.
I want to point out real quick that so he said I am said that a thing he missed us by 9 days a while back or whatever that would have sent us back to the Bronze Age. Screw it, I'm for it. All right, let's go back to the Bronze Age. Fuck it. Like I know we know enough. We've gathered enough of our brains together about bullshit history. I'll tell you how to build a castle. We'll make it happen. Okay. Like, let's just screw it. Let's go back to the Bronze Age. It'll be great. Okay.
Castles are cheap. We can go buy a castle in Scotland for like 60 grand.
If we're back to the Bronze Age,
that's going to be
prime. If we're going back to the Bronze Age, okay, we're going to make weapons and go take the damn castle. Okay, there is no buying a castle. There is seize the castle.
I'm down.
It'll be awesome.
So I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm curious what y'all think. All right, so you know how you tend to like reference things, right, in modern society, right, in history. It's like, oh, well, this was happened, so we're going to do a lot of stuff in this time period. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, why is fantasy, like high fantasy stuff, always in like medieval time period, right? Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about it, I was like, as we get farther and farther in advancement, I wonder if like high fantasy stuff is going to change time periods and become more modern, because medieval time period is going to be so unrelatable and unimaginable to people that are like being born now. So like kids now, just the idea of not having a cell phone or not having a streaming services and all these other things is going to be insane.
I
At a
definitely
certain
think
point-
about that particular thing a lot too, about how it changes people's. You got to write to that, right? You got to think about it, how people think differently than how they used to think based on what's normal now.
Yeah. So
The
like,
cell phone thing, for example. Yeah.
why has the medieval time period idea not died out or become less prevalent?
Well, I mean, because there's a couple different. I mean, high fantasy is not always medieval. I mean, it's always that kind of general time.
It's
Ish
certainly not
period.
1800s, and it's certainly
True.
not like Jesus Christ time.
I could go for some more like a biblical era game would be badass. I could go for like more Western style stuff, or even something in like the
That's
1970s would be cool.
that stuff is always post-apocalyptic. If it's shot in like if it's shot in a Western motif, or if it's shot in a biblical sense, it's usually set
After some kind of a
post-apocalyptic.
war.
Yeah, because that's true. Because I was just thinking that was I liked, for example, that about what was the game Horizon Zero Dawn. It was like after there was a bunch of technology and then something wiped it all out. You're right; it's all post-apocalyptic. So you're saying why don't we get something that's more modern but is still the same stuff you would have in the medieval like wizards and wands, like Harry Potter kind of thing, or what?
Well, that's
that was the
modern
idea.
day. That would be considered modern day, and even that stuff is considered also like that's shot in a way that it is still like medieval castles and stuff like that. And I think actually, this is the real reason. Hyperion frequency, sinfully cerebral, right? Same person.
Yeah.
Eurocentrism is what it is. A
Ooh.
idea that everything revolves around Europe.
That
It's
is
really
the
what it is.
concept.
And I forgot that I've had this idea in conversation with other people, and the idea of Eurocentrism is just huge.
Well, you've also got to think about this too. Like, how do you make something currently modern? Like, let's say we made a game that would be like Skyrim or even like Kingdom Come or whatever, in like with that kind of depth and detail in like a modern time, without it causing some kind of a controversy.
What about the Marvel movie, the Asian one, the Legend of the bunch of rings on his wrists movie?
Shang-Chi or something like that.
Yeah, that was a badass one. I thought that was amazing, and that was very modern day and very fantasy.
Well, that
and
I
magic
think
and stuff.
that's also I think that's the other area that it kind of does go into. It's just we don't see it as much in America and in Europe is like old martial arts movies time period.
Yeah,
Like,
that kind of thing. Yeah,
you do see that, but you definitely don't see that nearly in high fantasy. Like, kind of. That's not true. I guess you do see that too.
What's your favorite martial arts movie? Mine's Drunken Master.
Which one? The first,
the both
original,
of them.
or the second one?
I love them both. Yeah, I remember the second one more than I remember the first one, if I'm being honest. But I just like the idea of someone's superpower being wine.
Yeah,
basically.
It's Rock Lee also in. If you ever watch, it's not Avatar. What's the god? Why can't I think of the?
Is it really
Naruto? Rock Lee's superpower is that he's secretly a drunken master guy.
Oh yeah,
master fighter. So his secret power is when he drinks wine, he becomes like a crazy strong and doesn't hold back, and fights like fucking crazy fast and super cool.
Does he still dress exactly like his like his boss
everything he says is just like, oh, I'm so sorry to hurt you, I didn't mean to, and he's
I didn't mean to beat you up.
Oh, I'm falling. Like, it's really funny and fun to watch. Rock Lee's a great character.
That's funny as shit.
Rock Lee is really a great character.
I haven't seen Naruto in so long.
Yeah. So but like that was good. It kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rush Hour was a fantastic film. I watched that I think I literally saw that in theaters 6 times or something like that.
Why?
That's the one where it's Jackie Chan pretends like he doesn't speak English for the first like part of the film.
Yeah.
And then
and
reveals that and Tucker says, Do you understand the words that have come out of my mouth? That movie?
Yeah, I saw some stuff about that. It's because he literally couldn't understand Chris Tucker. Because he talks so fast.
That's funny.
Jackie was like, is he speaking English? Like, he could not.
Like, no, I speak English. I just don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah, it's really what
whatever that guy says.
because they even talk about the first time they meet. Chris Tucker's just rambling on, talking as fast as talking super fast, making jokes because he's a guy that's just always on. I watched it 8 times in theater, like going to the
Why?
actual.
Nice.
I was
so
really
much money.
I was
Because he
really,
loves film.
First of all, this is back when it was much cheaper to go to the movies.
Okay, good point. But still,
This was like $5 a movie, not even like. I'd go with my dad and I. It was much cheaper.
It was also in a row, so he just stayed in the theater. He bought one ticket.
Dad.
He liked the movie too.
I'm gonna ask him next time I see him.
Yeah.
Like, why on earth did you let that kid go see Rush Hour 8 times?
I think it was one of the few movies that I could see that he also enjoyed. Like, he would let me see rated R movies and stuff depending on the movie.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Rush Hour was like in a Jackie Chan movie. He's like, Jackie Chan's for kids. But I think it's because he never saw any of the really early Jackie Chan stuff, which gets some of it can get kind of weird. If you go watch 36 Crazy Fists, that's a good, really good Jackie Chan movie, but it's very old. And I think it's just directed by him. He's not, I don't even think he's in it, but it's really good. The martial arts.
I haven't seen it. I'll check it out.
The martial arts in it is really cool.
I was never one of those people that was into like the martial arts style movies. Never got the kick for it.
I did martial arts as a kid. I was super into it.
My sister did.
Taylor Lautner.
She kicked my ass. Yes, actually.
The kid that plays the wolf dude in Twilight.
Ooh, hang on. That's a loud noise.
I saw him like live competing when he was a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was
That's
so
cool.
good. But it was super weird because he was like, I think he was like 10 or 12 years old. And he was part of Extreme Martial Arts, which was a martial arts group that was created by I think he was like the Green Ranger or the Blue Ranger. I think it was the Blue Ranger.
Oh, I heard something about this. I used to be so into Power Rangers.
Yeah, he was a martial arts group created by I think it was the Blue Ranger. And I took a workshop with the Power Ranger, actually. It was really cool.
Far up. It was just a guy in a costume. You never saw his face.
No, we saw his face. But we got him and he's like, all right, let's work. And then he's like, all right, this is the first movie you did. And it's like, shit. It was pretty cool. It was pretty intense.
I did a bunch of things when I was younger. My parents enrolled me into a bunch of different things to try to figure out what my thing would be, like a hobby that I would like. And I don't know what it is about me, but I get bored of seeing things so very quickly. So I was in a Taekwondo class. You start out with no belt. You got to earn your white belt. So I got my white belt, and then I was like, I'm bored. Didn't do that anymore. Took up piano for a little while. Started playing piano. Didn't like, okay, I'm bored with that. I did baseball. Did Little League for a little while. Never really like cared about it. I don't know. I had a whole bunch of different things that I didn't care about. And then, StarCraft happened and Warcraft. And I was like, oh, computers are neat. And you can call somebody else's computer and play on the internet. So then video games, that's what stuck. Video games and computers, man.
Yeah, karate was great. I did a lot growing up. And then what was another?
I embarrassed myself in third grade. Third grade?
Yeah.
Fourth grade. In fourth grade, I came to class in my karate suit. And it was for a skit. We had to do skits.
Oh, okay.
They wanted us to memorize our multiplication, our times tables, we called them.
Yeah.
And so everybody had to do like a stupid little skit to recite. Everybody was given a number, right? So I got 6. So I had to say all the 6 times this is that. And every time I gave the answer, I'd give like a punch or a kick or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool for fourth grade.
Yeah.
I got to come to school in my karate suit. So that was cool.
You got to wear pajamas all day. I like it.
Yeah. I had an excuse for it.
What's the karate thingy called? The
gi?
The little, that thing.
It's gi.
See,
my sister growing up, she wanted me to go do.
It says Omni Hotels on it.
She wanted me to go do like the martial arts stuff with her, and I went to one training session and was like, "No, this is not for me. I am not built for this shit." But she loved it, so she would go and like do her thing, and then she'd come home and immediately show me what she learned without warning, and would just attack me usually.
Yeah, I want to pick it back up here in the city because there's so many different styles. Like There's a Wing Chun place, which is the place that like it's like the Bruce Lee style.
Wang
Not Bruce.
Chung?
Yeah, Bruce Lee, Wing Chun.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say like the
It's-
band.
No. Like is there a band called Wing Chun?
There's a band called Wang Chung.
No, this is Wing Chun. That's
They're the
different.
guys that did the Everybody Have Fun Tonight.
Yeah,
Everybody have
everybody Wing Chun tonight. They
Yeah.
say that. But yeah, there's that. There's a whole bunch of different styles here in the city that you can learn from, and they're all probably really good. So I kind of want to pick that up at some point when I find time in a schedule. But yeah, there's some cool stuff.
You should learn a bunch of karate stuff and some martial arts. Not tell us that you learned it, and then the next time you see us, just assault us.
I gotta be skinny though. I gotta work on not being fat first, and then I can
Not
work
that
on it.
bad.
Thanks. It was cool. I
What a
had
horrible thing to say. My
No,
God.
I like the honesty. It's good. I was just like, you're not fat. I'm like, well, you have bad eyes. Like, I don't know.
I wish I was freaking. At this point, I wish I could put on some freaking weight.
Eat ice
Like
cream.
a skeleton.
Eat. That's
Right.
what what's his face in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The guy who gains a bunch of weight because he's like, my
Eats
character
ice
would be
cream.
fat. That's what he did. Is he just melted? He had to get the carbs. He had to get the calories in. So he would eat ice cream, and he would take ice cream out and leave it on the counter, and then it would melt, and then he would drink an ice cream pint.
That sounds like no fun.
He
I
was
don't know,
not
man.
having fun trying to gain weight for
Can
the
you
show.
imagine
I watched an interview
drinking a
with
whole pint of ice cream?
Yeah,
Who's-
he would
is it
just chug
Steve?
ice cream.
Is it Carroll or Carell? Steve Carroll?
Steve Carell.
Carell? Yeah. Steve Carell. He put on 20 pounds for a roll,
Ooh,
but his method was Chicago deep dish style pizza. He just ate a fuck ton of like deep dish pizza, and then he might have like cheesecake for dessert.
What a
And I was like,
weird
that's
ass
how I would
job.
do it. I lived in Chicago long enough to enjoy that, and holy crap, does it take forever to cook,
How
but
did you
it's
live in
delicious.
Chicago?
Oh, I joined the Navy, and we had boot camp
right.
up there. And then after boot camp, I stayed in school for a year to learn basic electronics and engineering while I was up there with the military.
Wow, in
So-
the time that I've known you, that's never come up.
Yeah, so I was in Chicago. Well, I wasn't in Chicago. I was in Great Lakes, which is on the other side of Evanston from Chicago, down the
It's
train
not on my
line.
list of places to go. It's actually apparently what it's a pretty.
Yeah.
I'll be visiting again soon.
I am
course
for I
you
am.
will.
Next time you're on the show, let's talk karate because the style I did growing up was called Wado Kai, but it was originally called Wado Ryu, and it's Okinawan as well. This is so Goju Ryu is one of the main traditional Okinawan styles of karate, featuring a combination of hard and soft techniques. But I had a very similar style. So we could probably like go back and forth and name like katas, and they'd be really similar. And probably we'd probably have a lot of overlap in what we know.
It always blows my mind the amount of stuff that he just knows. Like just knows.
I love that Karl
so
Marx
much.
is the one that invented this.
I was gonna, is it the same Karl Marx? That's a different Karl Marx or the same one?
So this has it as a guy in Okinawa. I'll tell you right now. I don't know.
I have a book at home. So
Goju-Ryu.
does anybody else put like books on their shelves occasionally that are just confusing for people, so they'll see them and ask about them?
Sometimes, no, I mean,
I've got a couple of
not that
books.
thing specifically, but sometimes stuff like that. Yeah.
So I've got a couple of books on my shelf. One is called The World is Flat, which is like a financial book. But there's another one that's just like the select writings of Karl Marx, and it's this fucking thick. And it's just on the shelf next to a bunch
I think
of
that
pagan
shit's
books.
interesting. A lot of people are like
God, yeah.
averse to that. Like, I love reading things, especially if I don't agree with it. You know
I
what
have
I mean?
a copy of like I own a copy, and it's on display on the same shelf of Mein Kampf. Like it's an interesting historical artifact. That's about it.
Yeah. Like
And it is the
what
writings of a
was in,
lunatic.
but and here's what it is like to me is what's in this person's head. Like them, it's like reading someone's journal almost, you know?
It is. It's like what was happening in the mind of this human being to make what happened after this happen. So like if you read Hitler's book, the first whole chunk of it is just him explaining his views on the world, and it is the ravings of a psychotic madman. But it's just an interesting case study, I guess was the way to put it.
I want to show you
That's cool.
a picture that I saw. I was in the airport in Germany, and this copy of Der Spiegel was the current issue. And I just found a picture of it on the internet. It's amazing. And it says, was Marx right? Basically. And he's all tatted up and shit. It's like modern tattoos. He's got the recycling tattoo. He's got the like girl power tattoo or whatever that is. Like I thought it was such a cool photo just in general. He's got like a windmill or something, wind power charm on his necklace. The artwork I thought was great. Yeah.
Does the family that you have in Germany, could they like find you a copy of this?
I didn't buy a copy. I should have. I thought it was amazing. I took a picture and sent it to Hannah because she's super into communism and like Marx and stuff. So I sent her a copy, and she thought it was based. So anyway, I saw that, and I thought I just wanted to share it. Yeah, it was interesting.
That's awesome. See, that's wild. I had dinner one time a while back. I was at Jackie for a while worked for the Florida Trail Association.
Mm-hmm.
They had this president that's not their president anymore. She was a really sweet lady that did a Christmas tree lighting at her house. Every year she got like a real pine tree. They'd put candles on it. They'd light it for like a minute and get pictures around it. And then they put them all out, right? We almost burned the tree down twice during the time we were doing that. It was a lot of fun. But when I walked in, the very first thing I saw was a huge poster of Lenin. Like the Communist Party, Lenin, just like with all this, beams going past him, like staring up at the workforce and stuff. So I saw that and I was like, that's something I'm going to need to ask about a little bit later.
That's a conversation starter.
Oh, yeah. So after I kind of got in with some of the people there and got into like chat with people and because I didn't want to mess anything up at Jackie's with her people. So I got in with people, started talking with them. And the guy I was sitting right next to was the excellent cook and the owner of the house who had made these like really nice duck breasts that were great. But, so we were doing that. And I asked him finally, I was like, so, hey, man, we've been chatting here. What's with the Lenin poster? And he was like, oh, I'm a Bolshevik. And he explained his whole viewpoint on it. And he showed me another room in his house where he had a whole section of just books and magazines of that era. And it was just incredible history. I was telling him, I was like, dude, I don't agree with half of at least even a tenth of what you're talking about. But this is incredible history. And he was
That's interesting to me, specifically because whenever I talked to communists and I hear them speak of to basically defend communism in light of history, what we've seen in the implementations of communism stuff, they'll point to people like Lenin, and they'll point to things like Cuba and things, and they'll say basically, oh, that's not real communism, or that's not an example of what it's not true communism. They stole Marx's ideas and butchered it and turned them into something, right? So it's interesting to me for someone to have like specifically like, no, not talking about Marx, come on, Lenin, come on, this, that kind of thing. Interesting.
Yeah, that's
very
interesting.
interesting.
Now that I think about it, I think that's the only time I've ever met somebody that was legitimately like that type of communist. Like I've met communists before, but we love you, bye.
Thanks for pointing out that Karl Marx's personal life was a mess. It's always interesting. I don't know much about him at all, honestly. I haven't done my research.
I need to go on a Karl Marx dive.
I don't have the manifesto. I do have the Unabomber manifesto. I got a copy of that, but I don't have the communist one.
That's badass.
That's one of those things that I'll have up on the shelf to be like, is that the? Yep, that's it.
Yeah, is that what that is? Okay. Yeah,
yep.
That's why my house looks like it does. I mean,
yeah, there's not a documentary. What do you call a documentary that's a book?
Biography.
A biography. There we go. Thanks. It's called Harvard and the Unabomber because he was a Harvard guy, and then next to that is the Unabomber manifesto. I think it's fascinating.
What do you call a fucking documentary that's a book?
I couldn't think of the name. Yeah,
that's on my top right now for good shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, weapon of choice, John. What was your weapon of choice? I Am For I Am was pretty good with the bow staff.
I was 100% bow staff guy. I actually took a class.
Pretty good with the bow staff.
I was pretty good. And I took a class with a guy named Wayne Daglish, and actually met him and hung out with him a bit. He's now like a stunt coordinator in California for things, but was like the #1 bow staff martial artist in the world, and like as a kid, and he won like the world championship like 10 years in a freaking row. This was absolutely amazing. Like made up moves, just like he was insane. I don't know. I kind of want to make people watch a video, but I love it.
I knew this was coming.
The one game.
I can't not think of there's things, in pop culture where it's just burned into your mind. And I'm incapable of thinking of Napoleon Dynamite, not thinking of Napoleon Dynamite when anybody mentions a bow staff now.
I wonder if I like this movie more now, because I remember watching it a couple of times, but I was a kid at the time. There is no plot to this film.
I didn't like anything about the movie when I saw it the first time.
So dumb.
I didn't like anything about it. Today, I think it's fucking brilliant, and I love it. Really? But I hated it.
Give it another go through.
You should. I didn't like it at all.
Later today.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like art as much as I didn't understand art, I think. I didn't understand the point of it. Right.
I get a lot more stuff these days than I used to. I'm a damn dirty stoner.
Nothing. The thing is, if you watch Napoleon Dynamite and you hate it like I did, it's because you don't understand film and art. Nothing about it was an accident. It cost money to make, and everybody worked really hard on the movie. They didn't just because it does a very good job of acting like it's just somebody with a camera filming things who has no idea what they're doing. But everything is so intentional. Every line, they reshoot things when it doesn't work out perfectly. It's everything specifically is supposed to be like that. It's not an accident. So if you remember that, there's a lot more to like about it.
So I just remember actually liking, the only part about it I remember liking was he had really good line delivery with pretty much everything. I mean, it's really dry in a very good way. And maybe I liked it more than I thought.
My wife's name is Tina, and I still sometimes in the back of my mind, I've never said this to her, but in the back of my mind, if I cook dinner and I bring the plate, in the back of my mind, sometimes I'm like, "Eat the food, Tina." I just can't. I can't help it. Yeah, I can't help it.
My dad quotes that show way too much.
You shouldn't. It gets old, but that's part of the charm.
Yeah, I'm just remembering all the bullshit that actually goes. That movie feels like it's like a month long, and it's only like 2 hours.
It's the dumbest jokes, but you end up loving them. Vote for Pedro. The whole
them getting in the lowrider.
The dude selling door to door selling Tupperware, and he tries to show off how strong it is by showing, look, you can run it over with your van and it doesn't break. And he runs it over with his van and it destroys it, and he just leaves. Lost that sale. He just fucking leaves. Little things like that, these little. It's almost like a bunch of one-liners smushed into a movie. Into a film. I guess it is kind of that, but
I didn't realize how good that was. Yeah, I gotta watch this again. Yeah. Holy shit.
So movie
drives away like fuck. Leaves.
So hey, let's switch gears real quick and get educational on this here.
We're not being educational enough for you.
Well, I wanted to do something productive, which is John's got your video card, and
my question is, how did he run the previous power hungry ass card?
It didn't need a dedicated power.
Bingo. So
it was like a 7.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
So we got a better video card to John Branch for his machine there that he's on. Turns out he needs a new power supply or an adapter for it. So let's real quick show how to pick out a power supply.
And I'll tell you what too, No Man's Sky is on sale right now.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. Dude, so, I would love to get back into that, for sure. And
I was
I get a power supply that'll work with this graphics card, then I can play No Man's Sky on my
computer. That'll be dope.
Do it. I want to have a No Man's Sky evening. That would be. We could. You know what? If we're gonna move to evening streams, we could play No Man's Sky on stream.
Or we can just do we're probably going to end up with a game night at least once a month at some point anyway, I think, in the future. So
I very much so enjoy that.
We'll do that. So real quick, I prefer newegg.com when I'm searching for hardware, because of how easy, it's got a very logical interface to search for things. So that's what I usually look at. You can, if you have a preference for maybe Amazon, for example, maybe you have an Amazon Smile account that donates 0.5% of every purchase to the charity of your choice, and you want to run everything through that. Go for it. But you can still look them up on eBay, on Newegg, way easier. So you go to the hamburger menu up here, and we come down to components, and we're looking for core components, and we're looking for a power supply. So where is power supply?
So it's harder.
It's right here.
So Sinful Cerebral, Hyperion Frequency, or whatever, asked a question about, can you evolve a laptop? Usually you can't, because it's all like what's in it is what's in it because of the casing, and it's not really made to have parts taken out and new parts put back in and stuff like that.
Sometimes you can do like RAM upgrades, but even that's getting scarce now. And even like on MacBooks and stuff like that, a lot of hard drives or solid state drives are soldered directly to the board, so you can't even upgrade those or recover your data.
Yeah, that's the thing about laptops is once you've got a laptop, if it's just like what David said, memory usually, but also that's soldered on sometimes too. Hard drives usually, but
Speaking of computer stuff, did you see anybody besides me see any of Apple's keynote?
I was going to mention that too. Hey, Bad Hair Club, welcome. We're going to do AI tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern for World Blockchain Roundtable. So go to the World Blockchain Roundtable layer, leave a question for it, and we will answer it or discuss it or at least hit on it if it gets voted up. So that's tomorrow at 11 in the morning on the East Coast of the USA. Eastern time.
I'm going to watch that one tomorrow. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did see the Apple. Let's talk about that for a minute in a second.
Well, let's go for the power supply. If with what he's got, probably like a 750 would be plenty.
Yeah, 750 would be honestly overkill. But
and I usually try to stick like 100 watts over.
Yeah, but honestly, power supplies are so affordable. You don't want to get the cheapest because it's like the most important thing that everything in your computer is running on. But also, you can get a lot for not very much these days.
A big old rookie mistake that happens, and I hate saying that as a thing, it happens all the freaking time, is I'll have somebody come in here with like a freaking 3080, a super nice processor, and a power supply from Walmart. And like it's blown a hole through something just because they're shit. Corsair makes good stuff. EVGA tends to use the same OEM as Corsair.
I was going to say, and Corsair tends to use Seasonic as its base components.
Which is also, I think Great Wall is essentially the same. They're just like the same general company.
So we're going to go with those companies because we want to get something that's proven.
I always also say that Thermaltake, because they have proven me as a good company many times over.
All right.
Is Asus not any good?
Oh, God, no.
I don't know.
Asus is really good for some of the things they make. I would not buy their power supply because I don't have any experience.
I have changed the amount of Asus motherboards I have swapped is ungodly compared to they have the highest failure rate usually.
I have definitely gone from Asus to Gigabyte for motherboards.
Gigabyte and MSI have a way higher reliability. I've loved the MSI board I got last, and it's been rock solid.
Who else we want to check off here? We've got
check off
These are that could be good to go actually because
I think
they make space. They make basically everything. MSI is pretty good too.
That's also like the gold standard for power.
Yeah,
I was like, MSI is going to be probably super expensive and overkill for what I need.
So then we've got that. So we've got the branding picked out, and we've filtered by the power that we need. Most of these are standardized to where they're all going to have the plugs and stuff you need. So now I'm just going to sort by cheapest and see what comes up.
Do I need to worry about the case as well?
No, not really. All you need is the type is going to be. They're all this ATX shape, unless you get a mini one. They're all basically.
So that one right there, that Thermaltake, it's a 700 watt, and it's an older power supply. It's from like the mid Haswell days, so it's been around a while. But they're rock solid, and that's why they still sell them. So that's if you want a cheapy one, that's a good option.
Okay. All right.
The EVGA one to the right, if we're paying that much for EVGA, we should be getting something modular.
All right.
At least semi-modular.
Let's see what else we've got here. If we want to spend an extra $10, for example.
What's that one on the right?
This one here?
Above that one. Yeah. Is that
so
one,
the other thing is
that one a modular?
So there's two main types you're looking at. The cheaper ones are going to be all the wires are going to be permanently attached to them. a little bit more money and you get it to where you only plug in the wires you need, so it's cleaner. I don't think we care about that right now, do we, John?
No, not
Do
really.
you care about needing to just bundle some up that you're not using?
I don't care, and I have plenty of space in the case for the wires too.
Okay,
I just need to make sure I have the right pins for everything right.
You will.
cool. So
And
let's come
also,
all the way up here to this thermal take.
when you go to install this too, like we'll jump on like a video call and like
Yeah.
we'll just hang out and do it. It'll be fun. We'll
I
rope Dave
mean,
into it.
So
basically,
here's
I'm unplugging everything that's already plugged in and plugging I have to know what I unplug so I know where to plug stuff back into.
You're also gonna have to just
Pretty-
know that you'll be playing cable management is always
Yeah.
an absolute bitch, but it's great.
It's pretty. I feel like it's pretty intuitive. I got lucky at Dave.
it is intuitive. Yeah,
Dave, I think you fixed my cable management system too, didn't you?
I don't remember.
I think you like tied everything off and made it real
Probably.
pretty.
Yeah, because it helped with
it
airflow
wasn't-
and stuff.
I
It
tried
wasn't
it every
too
time I
bad.
got a buddy that comes in with their computer, and if it looks like shit inside, I'll be like, "Sit down. You're staying here for an hour while I deal with it."
You can actually improve performance that way because of the airflow keeping it cooler, which makes your CPU not downplug itself to prevent it from melting, basically.
Not
So yeah.
scream as it's dying slowly a heat death.
And
So what you're going to do, John, basically is you're going to have this cable here is going to be in your motherboard. That's
Yeah.
one. You're going to have either this or this skinny cable here is going to be these connectors are going to be, it's probably going to be this little skinny one is going to be your hard drive if you have a modern one. You have potentially these cables are going to be for your motherboard. One of them,
No, that's
probably not.
Those are GPU.
Okay. Well, sometimes they're both,
Nope,
I
those are
thought. No?
GPU.
Okay. All right. So then the GPU cables that you need, the whole reason we're buying this are these two cables here. Some GPUs need two of them. And
So the one on the right there is the one you're talking about for the motherboard. The
all
one
right,
on
I
the
was
left
backwards. All
there,
right.
yeah, the one on the left there that's got the one extra tail that's also got another one on it is the GPU.
Because some GPUs need 6 pins, some need 8.
Yeah, I think
I
the one
see.
John's got is
Gotcha.
only
it's
an
a
8
6
pin.
pin. It's a 6
Okay,
pin.
then that's fine. And you got dual 8s there, so you could also do an upgrade at some point and be fine.
Oh, there's another one up here too. Yeah, you got dual 8s.
I've got it right here, actually.
Yay!
Cool.
Little 1060. Good machine.
There's your 6 pin right there.
Yeah, that'll do just fine. Compared to what you had,
Yeah.
that'll be a-okay.
Yeah, mine. It was kind of. Yeah. Should I
You
also?
can also
is
just
there-
read the specs.
Is there a special way I should be storing this while
Nah.
it's not in anything? Okay,
It's fine.
No, you're
was
in
like-
a place that's not like you're not gonna electrocute it or anything like that.
that's what I wanted to make sure. It's like, should I keep it out of the sun? I don't know.
They're not as they're not as delicate as everybody likes to give
Well,
off.
It's not like it's also like entirely in a case. It's not like half of it's out. Like my other one.
Yeah, you're golden.
So, okay, that's good to know.
So I'm going to
that's
pop
a
this into
little
chat
flop.
for you.
My dog kept trying to help me out with my computer while I was.
Oh, what a good girl!
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I don't want all this fucking fur by my computer right now.
I love that that was your concern.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how many loose
Dude,
parts you
there's
got
so
there.
many options, man. Honestly, if you've got enough loose parts to build a computer, that sounds like something we can totally have you on and chat about.
Yeah.
Something you can do is go
Like
on
Legos.
What is it? Isn't it PCpicker.com or something like that?
Oh god, PC Part Picker's nice for if you're building a new system.
Well, I was gonna say you can
sometimes-
put in what you have and see what else you need to get to make that
True.
work. Probably
As long as you've got like parts that are semi-compatible, like a CPU and a board that is the same generation and some RAM that'll work in it, you're pretty much golden at that point.
That's the key.
Provided it's a
is-
board that has video out.
Yeah, you can have all the spare parts laying around the world, but if they're not compatible with each other with the same form factor, the same pin layout, the same socket, things like that, you're not going to put them together. So the
literally-
tricky part is compatibility. Yeah.
For that, I literally have up here buckets that are like 7th gen and up, and then 6th gen and under, like Intel chips and stuff, just for compatibility. So, and that's just crap that I have sitting there that I haven't found a board for yet. So
That would be John's next upgrade. So after his GPU gets in, his CPU would be his next upgrade, I think.
What is his chip?
Whatever motherboard he has, the latest for that socket would probably be an upgrade for him. Do you have it in front of you, John? What chip you have? It's an older one, right?
how do I find out?
Are you on that desktop?
Yeah.
Oh, right click on the. Oh, I'm on a Mac, Dave. You want him?
Yeah, on Windows, you would just basically you can just go to start and type in about this PC, and it'll bring up like a little page of how much memory you have and what CPU you have and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd love to know
properties, something like that.
Please
but,
don't be an FX chip.
But that would be the next thing.
Chip.
So yeah, if you Cerebral, if you got a bunch of spare parts, the thing is to check and see if they're compatible with each other, and if they are, then they go together like Legos, because they only fit one. Well, this is not a good analogy because Legos.
Yeah, it's a terrible analogy.
They go together like CPU parts.
CPUs fit a bunch of different ways, but they don't fit. If you twist them.
Yeah. If you do end up playing with like AMD chips that have pins instead of like the flat landing pad, and you bend some pins, be careful with those. If you break them off, you're done. But if you get a mechanical pencil, you can actually slip it over there and very gently bend it back into place.
Did I tell you that?
I don't remember.
I think so. My buddy Trey.
It's the only reason I have mechanical pencils, though.
I spent years with having just sitting there for people that would have a bent pin or two with a flat blade screwdriver and a butter knife, because you can put the butter knife directly in between and doing it by hand.
Make it even, yeah.
When Trey was an intern here, he was like, "Dude, get a mechanical pencil." And I looked at him and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he showed me the thing, and it just.
Yep. Oh, you know what it was? A friend of mine had the same issue, and. And he told me that because he was asking me, like, how do I bend the pins back? And I was like, very carefully, basically.
Like, really carefully.
And then he came back to me and he was like, oh, never mind, got it. Mechanical pencil. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. So then I went and bought mechanical pencils.
Yep, I have 2 or 3 of them right over there just for that. Hey, John, what are your specs?
I'm sharing it if you want to look.
Oh, what's up, JB? What we got? You have tiny text.
4690.
Really small?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got much of an upgrade path there.
Okay, that might be the last one for that board. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's like the 4790K, but they tend to have they have overheating issues. And well, I mean, mostly they just tend to think that they're running at like 100 degrees Celsius when they're.
So he's fine.
Yeah, honestly, that's respectable.
Yeah.
Still. I mean, everybody likes to think CPUs are the thing that bottlenecks everything, but like realistically, a 4th to 5th gen chip is still plenty. We could. Oh, that's an i5. We could do an i7 in there. Ooh.
Could potentially.
What do I have in the bucket of chips?
Yeah, we'll see. Like streaming is, you can basically do streaming with a lot of stuff. A lot of it is just basically how much can you do that, because worst case scenario, you lower your settings for streaming and it's not as high quality picture, but you're able to push it out and it looks fine. So totally do that. That's fine.
Got a couple of potentials here. I got a couple. So I just noticed that he's got an i5 as opposed to an i7, so we could totally do a pretty good upgrade there.
Yeah, laptops with peripherals. That's a good plan. Yeah, if you got a laptop and you want to add stuff to it, adding a camera, a microphone to it isn't going to be a big deal. An additional monitor is also not even that big of a problem for a laptop, as long as you have some sort of port out. And it does help a lot to have 2 displays to organize something on one end. And
John, what was the chip you had?
So yeah, that should be fine.
I'm still sharing if you want to pull it up, but
46.
The only thing with laptops too, just be careful about them overheating, because I think most of them have pretty shit airflow and stuff. So make sure
they're trying, but it's hard to cool something like that.
And
put it on something flat, not something cushy.
Yeah.
Like I have this that I use that has a flat surface. A hard flat surface, because if you were to put it on a pillow like this side, it just clogs up the air vents and there's no airflow. Depends on the air vents where they are in your laptop too. Some of them actually have it coming in through the keyboard on top.
Yeah.
So airflow.
That's the issue I ran into with like my laptops over time was that. So, and like make sure you like turn them off. Don't just leave them on and running forever. It's not like a PC where it can kind of work a little bit better with that.
And you can put them. Sometimes you can use a dock like putting them into a base. That depends on the laptop. Newer ones are using like Thunderbolt USB-C ports to run everything through a dock. Older ones typically have like a slot at the bottom that clips into a specific, like a specially made manufacturer dock. So yeah, that's an option. But then at that point too, you're basically breaking out all of your I/O to a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse, turning it into a desktop, and you may or may not have good results to that, depending on how much stuff you're trying to get it to do. So it depends. Your mileage may vary.
I have a better processor for you.
Well, good.
Next time your dad's sending stuff your way, tell him to come by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll come by anyway.
And
yeah,
then
that's
we
probably
can.
going to happen regardless. But
Yeah.
so you've got that i5 4690. I've got an i7 4770 S, which is like 20, 25-ish% faster in terms of speed. So yeah, and it's a hyper-threaded quad core as opposed to a dual core or a quad core that's fixed. Oh, look,
So on when we get to that episode of Upgrade John's PC, we can have the age-old debate of how to apply thermal paste properly.
So if I'm going to be doing that, is there anything else I need to? I'm always like, I'm the overthinker when it comes to this stuff, and I know just enough to get me in trouble is how I look at my like knowledge of computers. So like, do I need to worry about one, like this like 700 watts or whatever is going to be plenty for whatever I'm going to be doing, but that'll probably be compatible with whatever else I have too, because I'm just replacing the chip.
Yeah, the power supplies, the plugs on those are so very universal that like you're not going to have some special, and if you do have some special plug, there's an adapter for it.
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to ask too, since we're talking about my computer, is Bluetooth capability internally. Is there, because like I can buy a thing that plugs into the stuff and does it, but those I feel like all the ones I've used have been pretty shit. I had one and I had to send it back because it was so bad. So
yeah, you're looking at either two options on that. It's going to be a dongle that you plug in, just like you're talking about, or new motherboards do come with it integrated with, like, if you have onboard Wi-Fi where you have it has its own Wi-Fi card. A lot of times they'll have Bluetooth on board too. But I would just get a good rated like a highly rated dongle somewhere. Read the reviews.
Because that's what I had to do for my internet as well, as I have a dongle for my Wi-Fi for it. And it's always worked like pretty well. When I'm close enough, I use an Ethernet cable, so I'm close enough right now so I can use it. But
definitely go wired where you can, where it makes sense, because that's going to prevent you from having any sort of like weird, especially like when you got a bunch of neighbors, when the airspace is all like filled up with other people using wireless signals. The Bluetooth thing, there are different versions of Bluetooth. They're typically supposed to be backwards compatible, where if you have an older device that's connecting to a newer Bluetooth dongle, that the dongle will use an old protocol, to communicate with it. But if you're using a newer device that isn't for some reason backward compatible and you have an older dongle, that could probably give you issues. So
if you
just
have
the different versions.
If you have one that you recommend, let me know, because I can't use my printer for my computer. I have to send stuff to my phone and then I can print from my phone.
That's weird.
Because it's got Bluetooth compatibility.
It's Bluetooth and it's not there's no network. Like it's Bluetooth, but it's not Wi-Fi, and there's no plug.
All I know is when I went to print something from my computer, it wanted me to print it as a PDF.
There should at least be a USB cable you can plug into your computer to wire it to your computer.
Yeah, but if I can't, like, the printer's in another room.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
That's not as easy. And also then, like, that's one more.
Printers have never evolved. I feel like they're always a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could check that out at some point for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how we haven't fucking made printers better yet, but it's because if you make printers better, then the price of ink, then like you use less ink, and that's where they make their money. So whatever it is.
So I was going to talk about this while David was still here, but I think he's talking to a customer now. He mentioned Apple's event yesterday, Did you see that? What they announced? Their augmented reality, their AR thing, and John's gone.
No, I'm still
Oh, okay.
here. I
It was
just figured
basically.
I'd turn off my camera while I blew my nose.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't see it. Apple.
Yeah, they announced $3,500 base cost product. It is AR goggles, augmented reality goggles. It's like, I don't know, Apple Vision Pro or something.
Yeah.
But basically it's headphones for your eyeballs. Headphones for your eyes.
What?
So you put this headset on and you can see the room around you still, right? It's not like a VR headset, it's an AR headset. So you see the room around you still, but you can project whatever size computer screen or windows up around you, right? And apparently it's pretty crystal clear and stuff. And you can basically use it to take your workspace with you anywhere you want. Instead of having to have a computer monitor all set up in front of you, you can use it to just project either like a web browser or a movie screen or like a conference call or something like that. So it looks just like a VR headset, but you can still see the room around you. It just superimposes the image on top of the room.
So it's basically like when people are like moving stuff in space and shit like that.
Like in the movies. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's that.
Movies, it's that.
Yeah,
okay.
like Minority Report or whatever it was, or any of those film, Iron Man, that kind of thing, where you have stuff that you're manipulating in space.
You navigate simply by using your eyes, hands, and voice.
Yeah, it tracks your eyes where you're looking. It tracks that. You use your hands with the pinch and twist and stuff like that. You can talk to it, voice recognition, that Jarvis kind of thing a little bit. You can drag and drop from one virtual window that's floating in the air to another. You can do all the things you would expect to do. You can even take, if you have an Apple laptop, you can look at the laptop and move the screen up into the air and make it bigger. Like you can do all that stuff. So it looks pretty cool. It's the kind of thing that if I had Apple stuff, if I was an Apple guy, I would be like, oh, I'm saving up for that. But I would have to buy an iPhone and a laptop to make it really useful for me, I think.
It's pretty sick, but I'm trying to figure out how you actually get any work done with this.
I think of it as basically just virtualizing hardware, like your laptop screen and stuff like that. Yeah. So if you wanted to have, let's say you wanted to have 3 or 4 monitors to organize where your workflow stuff is, instead of buying 3 or 4 monitors and a video card that supported those ports, so you have more than one port for the monitor and all that, you would just put these goggles on and say, okay, give me 3 monitors, put this one here, so that you can work on stuff and have different, all around you kind of deal. And it looks just like when you're moving your head. It's not like when you're moving your head, it moves the windows also. It actually keeps them still. So as you move around, it moves them around so that they actually stay still from your perspective. So it's just like virtualizing peripheral hardware. Instead of having to have them where you set them up, though, you can just pack your goggles, go on the road. If you're in your hotel room, you can be like, okay, I have all my stuff here, and I have a bunch of monitors, things like that.
But you still have to bring your computer because it needs something to compute. It needs a fucking computer to run everything.
Which is why I said if I already had an Apple MacBook, that would be something that I would be interested in, that kind of thing. If I was a writer or a visual artist or a photographer and I used all Mac stuff already, if I was already in the Mac ecosystem, then okay, this could be something that I save up for. Kind of like buying a $10,000 display or something like that. But each little display that's inside of your eyes is apparently greater than 4K for each eye.
Yeah.
Resolution's supposed to be real crisp. It's supposed to not make you sick, which is cool. And it has a what I would I forget what they call it, but for me it has a like an ayahuasca mode, like a DMT mode. Like if you want to get really high and put on a Zen environment, it'll just put you in some atmosphere that's super chill and relaxing.
It seems really cool. I think if I'm able to use a keyboard and stuff, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and there's one where there's a keyboard, but it's a virtual, it's up here. I'm like, that's weird to type.
I've seen that demoed and it looks cool and I've seen it in movies, but there's no way I can use that the way that I use a regular keyboard because the tactile touchy-feely as on the keyboard. I can type without looking at what I'm typing, but only because I can feel where I'm at on the keyboard with the edges of the keys and things like that. So
it's like a piano, you know what I mean? You need to be able to feel the key. But like maybe just like that's like the new thing. Like we learn to type with our thumbs. Now we're gonna learn to type without having to touch anything.
Yeah.
Like I could type.
I don't have the edges of the keys on my keyboard. And what it does is it predicts where you fucked up to autocorrect it poorly. Which, by the way, what? Yeah, anyway, whatever that was. But by the way, Google's replacing its predictive text with GPT predictive corrections. Cool. It's supposed to be way better autocorrect.
Hopefully they can put fucking cuss words in there now.
I know, right? Instead of calling everybody a duck.
Yeah.
What did I just walk back into?
Oh, you missed the whole conversation about the thing that you talked about a minute ago. We went ahead and talked about it without you. The headphones for your eyes, the Apple Vision Pro.
Oh yeah, that's dumb. Sorry,
I was over here defending it. John was saying what he didn't like about it, and I was agreeing with him.
And anything that is put this on your face. Sorry, and I like VR stuff, but like no, it's dumb.
I think this is just the first. This is think about it that this is like the iPhone 2, you know, and we're just happy that it's in color, kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like
the iPhone 2 was cool.
Well, you know what I mean? Like when we had like the iPod and like then we came out with like the iPod Color, like that was like, oh, this is the most amazing thing ever. And we never knew that it's just going to be integrated into our phone. And we're never going to need this.
And the iPod was going to get a big screen, and then the iPod with a big screen was going to get a phone in it, and then it was going to be an iPhone, and then that whole evolution. Yeah.
So like I think like this is like how quickly this is going to evolve just into being fucking glasses is going to be fast.
That's what I want to see is literally throw on some aviators, and that's the whole rig.
Yeah, that'd be kind of sweet, actually.
It's going to evolve there really quickly. We're going to get rid of the fucking cord that runs down the back because our wireless connections are going to be so fast and smart, and hopefully have some more security and like high security and stuff like that would be nice. So like even when I was going to say also like when I do improv scenes, right? When I have to like, if I'm at a keyboard typing, if I'm ever typing something that I have to like, sometimes we're doing scenes, it's like, oh, I'm going to send this email. You say the email out loud because nobody can see your imaginary keyboard or your screen. I'll actually type what I'm saying, like, because I know where the keys are and I don't have to have it in front of me, but just knowing that it's precise. So like, I could see that working and just in relation to our fingers. Cause like, if I'm like this and I move this finger up a little bit, right, I'm going to hit the U. And like,
if it's in front of you where you can see it, I can see that because that's sort of how with my phone, I'm pretty fast with just my two thumbs, and without having the tactile feedback, but I am sort of looking at the keyboard too, to make sure I'm pressing where I think I'm pressing so I can correct for it.
But I think it'll know like your fingers in relation to each other. So like I'll be able to be like this and be like, oh, your hands are next to each other in like your home position for your keyboard. We know you're trying to type, and then we can make decisions based on like where your fingers go.
Yeah. So there might be a whole evolution of how typing is taught, in that instead of on a physical keyboard, it's actually movements of your fingers that represent different letters, kind of thing. It could evolve into that even.
Yeah. If your hands are parallel, but this finger's up here, you're trying to press this button.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah.
So it could evolve like that.
Everyone is just going to learn American Sign Language so that it can be like.
Well, like sign language is also so interpretive. Like there's not a word for everything in sign language. So it's like by feeling.
You have to, there's a lot of context, I guess.
Yeah. There's like emphasis and things like that. Like, all right, so how do you say this particular word? Well, it's kind of these two symbols put together with a certain emotion attached to it. It's a lot. Sign language is a lot.
Are deaf people better at context because of that? Because of sign language?
Probably
because a lot of
body language. For sure.
Interesting. Because I know a lot of like things that I read today. A lot of people like arguing things today. I noticed there's a lack of context, even in comedy. The way people look at comedy, like they complain about comedy. They're removing context from the joke and complaining about the joke, which is not what the whole joke is. Like, that's not the whole story. You know, that's not the thing. So interesting.
I think it's more also like because they can't maybe pick up every word you're saying and stuff like that, they have to tune in. It's kind of like the superpower when you're blind, your hearing's amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Focus
so like,
in on other stuff.
When you can't hear what they're saying, you have to rely on body language and tone, and emphasis and stuff like that a lot more to get a full grasp of the sentence. Because I can't hear when they're angry, but I can tell by their body language they are, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we have like 5 senses and like 2 kind of senses. So 7-ish. How many senses do we have?
Probably 5, because there's one
Sight.
that's called the sixth sense, right? And that's
but there is a 6th sense. The 6th sense is like, you know how whenever you
intuition, whatever.
Well, no, like whenever like a roller coaster feeling where you're falling, the sensation of falling.
Oh yeah.
Like that's a sense, that's a sensation, that's a sense. But it's not like a true, it's not like touch or smell. It's not so specific. But you can sense gravity. You can sense that there's no gravity or that there is gravity or that you're falling or something like that. It is a sensation.
Interesting.
You're sensing weight at that point, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. And I guess you can sort of sense time-ish, right? So that's why I said there's 7-ish. So there's really, it's the 8th sense is ESP, huh?
Oh my God, we got to the 8th sense.
ESPN, ESPN the Ocho. This is where it is.
ESPN.
Don't believe the nonsense. We have dozens of senses. Yeah, there's a really good and
there's no way as humans we haven't figured out how all of our crap works. So like, yeah, we probably got
there's an interesting take on this from a guy named fucking hell. That's not his name.
the name.
The devil. The devil.
His
It's
name.
Mullins, something. Anyway, he invented the PCR test thing, and he's a smart dude. Has some really wacky ideas, but backs them up pretty well. And he talks about he has an autobiography called something about playing naked in the minefield. I don't know. He's holding a surfboard.
Swimming naked in the minefield.
Yeah. So he talks about humans being basically in this tower, in this castle, and that we have these very specific small windows, these slits that we can see out of into the world, right? And one of them is our sense of vision, and one of them is our sense of smell and hearing and touchy-feely and all that stuff. And these are all just like little windows into reality, and that's all we get to see, right? So he has this sort of interesting concept of, we're all in a dark castle with these little windows, these little portholes out to reality. And so our whole concept of reality is based on these little windows that we get to see into it. And I thought that reminded me of what Cerebral said about dozens of senses. Yeah.
Dozens of senses. That sounds like a good name for an album.
Dozens of senses. Dozens. There are dozens of us.
I think Carl Sagan made a really good reference to like 2 dimension and 3 dimension, and talking about how like if there was like a 4th dimensional space, we wouldn't even be able to perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that seems to tie in my brain, but that's a funny ass video where he's talking about being in Flatland. Yeah,
Flatland is a really good one. I was about to bring that up. Flatland, the Flatlanders. Is that what the book is called? Flatland is a book called Flatland. It's a short story, I think, maybe. But it's basically, it teaches about 4th dimension through describing life as a 2-dimensional being who discovers the 3rd dimension.
It's like an apple descends down, you would just see it in layers.
But you just see this little slit. You don't see anything else. Yeah. Yep. Good stuff.
Just making sure my door was unlocked for my coworker here.
I wanted to ask, what is the reason to have an RGB
None.
Power supply?
None is the answer.
None.
I feel like that just takes more power.
I'm on the
like
it looks flashy, and some people think it's cool. That's the reason. And some people think it's cool, so they impose it on everyone. They make everyone's eyes bleed by default unless you turn it off manually, because some people think it looks cool.
I have never despised something more in a computer, I think, than RGB.
I've got RGB on my keyboard that I've turned off. I've got RGB on my fans on my computer that I haven't turned off just because I'm lazy, but I hate them. So every time I look at it, I'm like, that's stupid, but I leave it on.
I have unplugged everything that could even be considered RGB in my
But
computer.
everything ships with RGB lights on it. Now they do
The
have like
cheapest,
if
shittiest Rosewell case comes with an RGB fan.
yeah, and so motherboards now come with integrated RGB controllers to where you can then synchronize the lights on your
And integrated RGB sometimes, like down the
and
side
and
stripping,
that.
it'll have like a strip in there.
Yep, you can synchronize the RGB on the motherboard. On even your memory modules have little lights across the top now. Your graphics cards, your fan, all of that, so that your whole computer is the same color, where it flashes if you want to have a disco light switch rave party or something. Yeah, it's all about that.
I think it's pretty cool and interesting. I actually kind of like it on my keyboard because it makes it a little bit easier to see. And I
Totally, I'm
and
for that.
And I like being able to make it like a certain color. Like I don't like the red, but like the purple and the blue is nice because it's like a little bit more muted and calmer.
Yeah,
but it still gives me the light, and it's not just like a bright like white light coming from the back of my keyboard, which like the backlit is really nice.
I agree with that. I would.
Like, do you
I would
consider yourself,
defend. That's the one thing that I would defend is the keyboard backlight working in the dark. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself like a flashy person in certain ways, or more of like I like everything to be kind of just in its own place and quiet?
Who, me?
Both, honestly.
Well, I think Dave probably prefers it not to be flashy and bright.
Obviously, I just said I turned everything off. So, I just don't care.
Like, it depends on like it also has to do a lot with like your personality if you like that kind of stuff. Like, are you more of like a don't like to go do stuff and like kind of sit at home kind of person, or are you more like batshit insane?
I like the idea of being able to choose based on my mood. If I'm like, you know what, I want some cool lights and I want the option, and all right, cool, that's neat. And I also like the idea of being like, nope, I'm just gonna sit down and write this paper and not think about the bright colors. But if I'm playing like a fucking crazy cool like sci-fi game, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to feel like I'm in like a modern sci-fi crazy futuristic computer world too.
If I was to be, I wonder if my motherboard's smart enough for this. I wouldn't mind being able to take like the fans that are RGB in the front of my computer and have them like bounce along with like music. That would be cool. Like that,
I think this is probably the brainstorm. This is probably the think tank issue that decided, okay, everything gets RGB because the people that don't want it can just turn it off, and it's cheaper for us to not make different models of everything and just ship everything with RGB instead of having different manufacturing processes for the people that are picky either way. So yeah.
Isn't it wild that it's cheaper to not make more than one and just have the more components in one?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that shit's so expensive for the military that I learned. You know, on one hand, why does it cost $5,000 to make a hard drive that costs $100 on the open market? Is that, that's ridiculous. But on the other hand,
keep your budget.
They use shit that is from the 80s because it's proven, and they don't want to have to spend the next 5 years recertifying different hardware. And because it's from the 80s, if you need a new one, you got to have the manufacturer retool their assembly line to create shit they don't create anymore. So it becomes exponentially expensive. So if you can just make one version of something, that's why it's cheaper. Even if it has LED lights in it, like it's cheaper to put the LED lights in it than to make two versions.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. So to answer your question, I like things to be uniform and to have like a common theme. So I wouldn't want one aspect to be like silvery and bright or like to be like RGB, and then another one to be like stainless steel. Like I don't like the contrast. I just want like one uniform thing, and then being able to change the uniformity of it is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually pretty
if it looked normal without the RGB, and like, but if it looks weird when it's not on, like you just see a bunch of empty tubes on your computer. It's like, what the fuck is that for? That's weird.
Public service announcement real quick. If you're going to buy a laptop, and you're going to buy an HP laptop in particular, don't buy one that's $325 total, because you're going to get this.
Hinges.
Where the hinge explodes.
Somebody duct taped it.
For the palm rest. Yeah. So, and also, if you do have a cheap HP laptop or just a cheap laptop, always open the screen from the middle, because then it'll put equal pressure on both sides.
Good to know.
Good advice. Yeah, I've seen those a lot too.
That's a $250 repair.
For a $350 laptop?
Yep, pretty much.
Yep. Well, cool, man. I only had one more thing that I wanted to read on the way out of here, and it's coming up on the hour that we need to get out of here because I've got an electrician coming over to help me fix my shit.
What did you break?
Oh, I just have fire hazards for a house. So,
I was redoing the stereo cabinet over the weekend, and I realized just how much of a fire hazard it was before I ran everything into surge protectors. I was like, wow, back here is terrifying.
Oh, I just remember that's what I need to do at some point. I figured this might be a good thing I could probably do on this show. Maybe is I've got what's the thing that plays record? I have a record player, and I need to, and I think it's the needle is broken, but I'm not sure if there's other things wrong with it. I don't know if you know how to troubleshoot that kind of stuff.
Who made it? Is it? I'm sorry to hijack Dave's escape, but now I'm curious.
Whatever, that's fine.
Who made
It's probably just the tip.
If you don't mind being somebody gave us a $200, $300, $400 Audio Technica.
Oh, is it like an LP 120 or something?
I can snag it 1 second.
Yeah, snag it.
Let's check it out. Check it out.
An LP 120. That's a hell of a turntable.
Oh, it's back there in the out of focus region of his background.
Dakota's over there please don't die. Please don't die.
John is a real person.
He really is. I love it. Oh, dude. Okay. So that is my same turntable. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love that turntable. What is it doing?
Sitting on the shelf, bro.
Well, but why does he think it's bad? I gotta know.
So why do you think it's bad? What's it doing?
So that turntable, John, is the same one that I use every day. I love that thing.
It is an LP 120.
Yep. So it is a direct drive turntable, meaning that you shouldn't have any problems with speeds or anything like that. So no belts or anything. Actually, when you plug it in and turn it on, if you hit the little 33 or 45 button, hit go, there's a little strobe light, and it'll show these circles on the side. And if it looks like the circles are still, then it's running at the perfect speed. And it's a quartz lock table, meaning that it is constantly adjusting its speed to be running at the right speed.
Talk about that record player for 2 more minutes because I got to go check something.
I totally can do that. So you've also got it. Does it sound weird or something?
We haven't. So somebody gave it to us.
Hold on. Does it sound like it's scratchy and really crackly?
Do you know what? Did they tell you what was wrong with it?
They didn't know that the needle was broken. They thought it was working fine.
Never mind. I think it's just a broken needle because they thought it was working fine and they didn't know that the needle was broken.
That's awesome. So the cool thing with that one is let's say you want to run it into a set of speakers. You can just buy a decent set of powered speakers and not have to run an amplifier in the middle because that one has a phono preamp out of it. There's a little switch on the back that you can flip on and off. So if you do buy a nice receiver with a phono input, if it sounds extremely like static is coming through it, it's because that little switch is flipped on the back.
Good to know.
So, and also the needle, as long as the head shell that the needle lives in is fine, those cartridges are only $45, and they're good for 200 or 300 plays. Not 200 or 300 plays, 2,000 or 3,000 hours of play.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you can even go to a music store and buy a full head shell, because that one you can just unscrew a little knob, pull the whole assembly off, pop a new one in, and you're good to go.
That's pretty sweet. I got a Sam
I have
in the corner for me. Maybe I'll go there today.
Check that out.
But
I've got a couple head shells for mine. I've got one for 78s for really old records, and a nice Ornithone cart, and the one that came with it.
That's what I was. The only thing that kind of sucks about record players and stuff like that is having to then go get a sound system that'll work with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's the beauty with this one is it's just you can even, and don't do this, but you could go and buy a $40 or $50 cheapy set of Logitech speakers and run them out of the back of it just because it's already got a preamp.
Yeah,
and the preamp on it's really good too.
I've got some Bose computer speakers that are pretty nice, and I'm that should probably work. And then I saw what the plug was. It's just RCA
out.
Yeah. So I think that works with my. I don't know if that works with my Bose one though or not.
If not, you can get just a standard little RCA red and white to a stereo mini jack, and they're just fine.
Exactly. They might even
Cool.
have one of those at St. Ash.
Thanks for breaking all that down while I went and checked. So I do have a hard stop. I've got a contractor waiting on me, which is probably
good. Go do your thing.
on the clock already.
Oh my God, go do your thing.
Thanks for all of that. Like I said, we're going to end up going to an evening format. That's not going to come until probably September, and I'm most likely going to take August off. So we've got some time still before that happens.
But if you want
there's a chance.
If you want the brown note thing, let me know. I will scream.
Let us know about it.
Trying to find it.
There's a chance we'll, move a little bit sooner. We'll see what happens. I'm going to read something real quick because I thought it was spicy and I like it. And then we'll get out of here. So this is from Marty Bent's blog. He says that Bitcoin is the most just system that has been brought to humanity in centuries, probably ever. It is easy to stand behind once you understand the properties of the network. It is transparent. It is available to anyone who can download the software. It has no central point of control that can be leveraged to corrupt the network. It is the digital embodiment of can't tread on me. If you're not willing to defend the ability to access this network because it may make the government mad at you, you are a feckless coward who should give up and internalize the fact that you are a good slave.
That one. I like that, Andy.
So that's spicy.
Good. That's spicy.
I like it. Go be disruptive and stuff, but don't do anything bad or hurt anybody while you do it. And we'll be back next week. I'll hand out points far sooner than this time around. Thanks, everybody. If you haven't, go ahead and vote for what time you want us to do this in the evening. Again, it looks like it's probably going to be 8 p.m. on Wednesday, so that'll be interesting. All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone. We're out.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A doctoral approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.